All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Alex, AKA Alex the Vagabond. This is my fiance, Carrie Rad, and this is Lanka, AKA Lucky Lanka. He is the dog that we adopted when traveling in Sri Lanka. He has a crazy story, and finally we are sitting down today in this video to tell you the whole story from A to Z of how we found Lanka and how we got him back home with us.
Feeling all the things.
I'm really excited to be sitting down and chatting through this with Alex over here on his channel because you guys have asked a lot about the story and the ins and outs of how it ended up working out. It wasn't easy. It did take a lot of time. There were a lot of emotions involved, sometimes happiness, sometimes sadness, sometimes confusion. So we've essentially had him here in the US for about 10 to 11 months. He means the absolute world to us and we love him so much. And so it's gonna be cool to sit here and talk through that story with you guys.
It's quite a story, so without further ado, let's get into it. This is an interesting story, but it's also kind of a long one. It took multiple months and the story spans multiple different countries and a lot of like yearning.
You know, we've always known that we wanted to at some point in a relationship adopt or rescue a dog.
I think that we were at a stage in our relationship where we were prepared, I think, emotionally to have a dog, but maybe not like in all practicality.
Yeah, we knew it would happen at some point. We just didn't think it was gonna happen on this trip to Sri Lanka.
No, definitely not. So let's set the scene. It's September of 2018 and Carrie and I are traveling with my brother Marco and my best friend Carlos. We're shooting a long video series in Sri Lanka. The whole trip was 9 days, I believe, and we covered quite a lot of ground. We started in the capital, Colombo, and then we made our way up to the highlands, to the town of Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, and Ella. Ella is a super popular backpackers city, and it's up in the mountains in the central part of the country. One of the things about Sri Lanka is similar to India, there are quite a lot of stray dogs. The attitude is kind of more hands-off and, you know, just allow them to be around, but nobody's really taking care of these animals.
Mind you, there are several foundations and rescues that bring street dogs in, get them all wrapped up medically and ready to go, and then find them really good homes.
And we were on a hike in Ella, and this dog came out of the forest, and he was not looking too hot. Come on, Scrags. Come on. Come on. Been with us for at least a half an hour. Oh, Scraggles. We're gonna get some food. But he had a great little personality and he was following us for the whole hike for at least 2.5 hours. So at the end, we had named him Scraggles. He had brought a couple of his other friends. They followed us down to the car, and when we got down there, we fed them some crackers. And you know, I think that was the first step in like, wow, these animals are really cool and very kind, and B, there's a lot of them out there that need some love.
Yeah.
The next day, we piled into the van, and our driver, Nero
is a very important part of this story, so keep that name in mind. We were driving from the highlands of Ella down to Marissa. We were in rural Sri Lanka, and we had to stop because of
water buffalo. There was a farmer who was taking his herd from one field across the road to another, and our van was stopped by hundreds of these water buffalo crossing the road.
So essentially, if that man was not taking his water buffalo across the road, we would have never met our fur child.
If that hadn't have happened at that exact moment, if those buffalo weren't crossing the road, we wouldn't have stopped because it was quite literally in the middle of nowhere. I remember asking if anybody needed to T&P, which was drink a cup of tea for some caffeine and take a pee. There was, just coincidentally, right next to where we stopped, a small roadside hotel slash restaurant. The hotel was kind of a compound. It had large walls and it had a big lot in the back, but the lot was like overgrown and it had a lot of old machinery, chickens and things like that. Something caught my eye when I walked down to the restroom, and on closer inspection I realized it was a tiny little puppy. He was taking refuge underneath this old rusty tractor. I started to pet him and his eyes were closed, and when I touched him his eyes opened up and I could hear Carrie kind of calling at me in the distance, and so I picked up the little puppy. I told my friend Carlos to start filming, and then I called Carrie over.
What's in your hand?
Little puppy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hi.
Oh man, oh my god.
Baby. Hi. Oh my god, hold this. Holy shit. Here you go. Oh god. Cue shot of my reaction here. I obviously thought that he was the cutest puppy I have ever seen in my life to this day.
Yeah, Carrie's face was just like this.
Same look that Lanka had on his face. So
Yours was surprise, his was just pure elation.
he was just so happy and so sweet, and his tongue was just hanging out, and he just had the best personality. And at that moment in time, obviously I loved him immediately.
My first thought was, this is a really cute animal and it's obviously being neglected, and I'm wondering if we can try to help it any way.
So then Nero proceeds to pick up Lanka from the back skin here, which is where the mother picks up the puppy.
He's good?
Good doggy. Good doggy.
You want to come to America?
So we're standing there. Alex is holding Lanka in his arms. Alex immediately looks at me and he was like, we're taking him home.
He's a cute little street dog, and I think we're gonna try to take him home.
Upon further inspection, we started to notice that he had fleas and ticks kind of in all different crevices of his body.
Oh, it's okay, buddy. We're gonna clean you. That's one tick down. How many more?
Okay.
Fleas, ticks. We're gonna clean you up, Lanka.
It was a super spontaneous decision, one that I just felt was right, even though I knew it was gonna be a challenge. The moment had presented itself, and
It was meant to be.
I think that we both just kind of realized, like, hey, we can do this. And it's not gonna be easy, but we'll figure it out. And we did have the help of our driver Nero and of the representatives of the Sri Lanka Tourism Board, who were extremely positive about
us taking him home. And so we get back into the bus, and then we brought Lanka straight to a little vet on the side of the road.
All right, well, first things first, we have driven down the road and we found an animal clinic. Luckily, we have our driver and our hosts here who are helping us kind of navigate the process.
We've just been pulling ticks off of him the whole ride. There was a lot of big ones underneath his chin, and he might have a little infection underneath his armpit. So I'm really glad that we're at the vet right now, just getting him all checked up and sorted, and he's our new baby. We brought him in, and she said he's really young. I think at the time she said maybe he was 4 weeks.
She said he was probably around a month old. We didn't know what the requirements were for importing a dog from a foreign country back to the United States. We had already made the decision that we were gonna bring Lanka with us, and then when we did get to this town and to the vet, we realized once we got internet service that a dog had to be 4 months or older to be allowed into the United States. So we were in a bit of a predicament. Lanka was named Lanka. He had a puppy passport. The vet had given him an examination, and she said that he was healthy. We did get some like anti-worm pills and stuff like that. And then we got some milk substitute. So we were feeding Lanka out of a bottle because he was really that young. And we realized Lanka wasn't gonna be coming home with us on the flight.
The more we looked into it and the more information we found, the more we realized that it was gonna be more difficult than we thought. I kind of had an idea that it was going to be difficult. Alex had more of a optimistic outlook from the very beginning. And so as we were finding out this information, I was sort of going like, I knew it, because my whole thing was sort of like, don't get too excited because it's going to be more difficult than we think. Alex was like, we're doing it. So
I was like, we'll just carry him on, we'll put him in a bag.
But that optimistic outlook helped us kind of get through everything and really end up being able to have him here with us. So then we get him all checked out, we get his puppy passport, and now we have Lanka with us.
We've smuggled him into our hotel room in a tote bag, during which he was absolutely silent.
And we got into the hotel room, and oh, he was just the sweetest thing. I still remember moments of us being in the hotel room, just like snuggling with him and being with him, and somehow Alex knew how to warm up the baby bottle. I don't even know how.
I was like boiling water and mixing in baby powder into a bottle at like 3 in the morning.
And I put like a little blanket on my shoulder and would feed him that way.
I mean, it looked like Carrie was breastfeeding.
I mean, we just took him in as our own, and he was instantly just part of our little family, and he would cry in the middle of the night like an actual human baby, and so I would get up and like rock him, and you know, we were full in.
We were smitten. We were seriously entertaining staying in Sri Lanka for the next 3 months to the end of our tourist visa, posting up somewhere on the beach in Marissa and just hanging out with Lanka. Unfortunately, that was not a reality. We did have...
You couldn't because of work stuff, and then it ended up changing to me saying, I'm going to stay.
Carrie was like, I don't care, I'm staying. All of this was taking place in literally a 48-hour period. We were scrambling to figure out how we were gonna get Lanka back to the United States. We had finished filming the video series for Vagabond Brothers. If you haven't seen that series on Sri Lanka, go check it out, I'll link it. But we were kind of in a bind because our flight was leaving 24 hours later, and we did not know how we were gonna get Lanka home.
Yeah, we ended up being able to spend 3 days with him in Sri Lanka. And in those 3 days, we just became so connected to him, and we just couldn't imagine leaving him. What ended up happening is we found out that we couldn't, that we really could not bring him into the United States unless he was 4 months old. Right. Saying goodbye to him was the most difficult thing, and there's definitely footage of me crying. What ended up happening was that Nero, our driver, who is such a crucial part of this entire story, and still to this day, we appreciate Nero so much.
The original plan was that Nero and his family and his daughter Julia in particular were going to take care of Lanka. They were going to send us daily or weekly updates on Lanka's progress.
What's happening, babe? He looks so cute. Look at him with his...
a little baby.
It's like a little ducky.
They were gonna make sure that all of the paperwork and the shots that were necessary for Lanka to come to the United States were in order. And we were going to originally fly back to Sri Lanka and then pick Lanka up and fly him home with us.
That was the original plan, but it ended up being so incredibly complicated.
Here's a clip of us trying to make some phone calls to figure out more information.
Welcome to Sri Lankan Airlines, a member of One World Alliance.
Okay, my question is, you guys do allow pets then?
Hold on. Hello, sir. We do not let the passenger take the dog at the cabin, sir. So
Unfortunately, the more research that we did, the more companies that we called, the more difficult it became for us to actually try to find a way to do this. We ended up reaching out to a company called Pet Express Sri Lanka.
That was actually recommended by the tourism board, so we were happy that it was a legitimate business.
So we hired Pet Express Sri Lanka to take care of the paperwork to make sure that Lanka's shots and his puppy passport was in order, and to book proper flights to get Lanka home.
When Lanka was getting ready for his flight, Nero was so great about meeting with Pet Express Sri Lanka to make sure that everything was taken care of, and it was important to us that we took care of Nero too, so we made sure that, you know, we gave Nero a budget to be able to spend time, you know, going out of his way to make sure that Lanka's all taken care of, and we really appreciated that.
So thank you, Nero, and thank you, Julia, and your family for taking care of Lanka in those couple of months and helping get him back to us safe and sound. So December 17th, 2018.
You remember the exact day?
I do. It was the day of Lanka's arrival. The day has arrived. L Day, Lanka Day, landing day. He has just touched down at LAX, and now we're gonna leave the house. We've done everything we can to puppy-proof and prep. Nerves?
I'm so excited. It's so exciting to see. I just looked up his flight and it says arrived on time.
Lanka, we're coming for you.
Okay, baby.
It's so crazy to think that he's at LAX right now as we speak.
We are excited, we're fearful, we're anxious.
So many emotions.
Yeah, and we drive down to LAX to the cargo company that's handling his transfer, and we're told that it's not gonna be this simple. The employees of the cargo company were really a bit too relaxed about the whole situation. They took their sweet time doing anything and everything, and what should have taken 10 to 15 minutes ended up taking 45 minutes to an hour.
Mind you, we've been waiting for this dog for 3 months, so for us it was like...
And Lanka has been in transit for over 24 hours.
Yeah, so we wanted to get him into our arms and out of the crate and out of transit.
So we were told by the people from the cargo company that we had to first go to the US Customs Department, which was a couple miles away. So we grab our paperwork, hop in the car, drive to Customs, show them the paperwork, and I was just astounded at how easy it was because we were in and out of there in 15 minutes. Then, when we get back to the cargo company, we're told that they have not received papers and that there's no stamp. Even though I watched the customs officer stamp our paperwork, but the person said they cannot release the animal until they see the stamp. So I decided to hop back into the car, drive back to the customs agency. The customs officer shows me where he stamped the paperwork, drive quickly back to the cargo company. They find the notification, and then they go into the back and tell us to meet them outside. Okay, after lots of back and forth, he's cleared, and they've just gone to go get him.
I just feel like I'm on the verge of crying this entire process. I just want the little guy to be able to stretch his legs right now.
He's coming. Lanka! Hey, buddy. Lanka! Hey, Lanka. Hey, buddy. Are you okay, baby? Are you okay, Lanky? Yeah. Are you okay, buddy? Are you okay? Lanky. Lanka. Oh, buddy. You had a little...
Immediately just started licking us, and he was so happy, wagging his tail. I feel like, I like to think that he remembered us because it had been 3 months. Dogs can remember you by your scent, so like, we picked him up, and he definitely, like,
He was so happy.
Yeah.
So happy. And when we brought him into the car, he just immediately, he sat on Carrie's lap, and he was so calm and so comfortable. and so happy to be reunited with us. And that was the beginning of a whole new chapter in our lives. And I will just say that having Lanka, bringing Lanka home with us has just added so much joy, so much gratitude. It's so grounding, and he's such a unique animal. He's so intelligent. He's so well behaved.
We got really lucky. I've had a lot of dogs in my life. My family loves dogs. My mom loves dogs. So I had dogs growing up, and I also had Hendrix at the time, who is now with my mom because my mom loves dogs so much. And at the time I couldn't watch Hendrix as much because I was single at the time and I was working long hours. And so my mom now has Hendrix. And there's something about Lanka, and I don't know if it's because he's traveled so far like he has, or it's just his demeanor, who he is. Like,
He's got a great personality.
he does. Like, he's really calm, but he also has energy, and he loves to hike with us, and he is so zen, but he's also so focused, and he's so smart.
Quiet. He doesn't bark unless there's like, you know, something that's worth barking at.
And he's beautiful. He really is a gorgeous dog, and when we're out and about and we have Lanka, people are always like, what kind of dog is that?
Long story short, adopting Lanka was the best decision I think we've ever made. And I like to believe that doing that good turn and taking Lanka from a bad situation to a better one has manifested itself into the best dog that you could ever ask for.
We might be biased because I'm sure everybody thinks that their dog is the best dog, and your dog probably is the best dog.
Yeah.
All dogs are the best, but he's our best dog and we love him so much. There's times where we both just look at each other and we look across the room and we see Lanka and we're both just like, I can't believe he's here. To this day, we still say that. I think 2 days ago, we were just looking at each other like, I can't believe he's here, because it still feels so surreal, because it did take so much time and dedication to bring him over here. But I'm so happy that we did, and it feels like, I don't know, it just added a new dynamic into our life and our love and into our family that you just can't explain. It's not just about you and me now, it's about me, you, and Lanka.
I was always a little bit worried because I travel so often for work that I wouldn't be able to take care of a dog, but I think that adding Lanka into our family has just created more. It's allowed me to love more, it's allowed me to care more, it's allowed me to become a better person, and he has added so much joy to our lives that I could just never imagine life without him. It's weird. I don't even remember what life was like before having Lanka. He has been such a great addition to the family, and he brings us joy every single day. He's nearly a year old. He loves hikes, he loves running, he loves canine cruising, he loves playing with soccer balls in the backyard.
He's also the ultimate cuddler.
He is a bit of a crotch snorkeler. He does like to shove his snout right into your private parts, but hey, you know, that's how dogs greet each
He's like
other.
the perfect height for that, so his nose just goes straight into your crotch.
I always thought it'd be funny to like think about what if humans introduce themselves like that. But anyways, that's a whole different subject. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, it brings us so much joy to know that Lanka is safe and sound here with us, and also to be able to share his story with all of you out there in the world. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel with notifications enabled. Make sure you're subscribed to Carrie's channel, and also follow Lanka on Instagram at Lucky Lanka. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.